Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. Well, what do we got going on in the crack up boom? I mean the market. What's going on in the market? Well, yes, it's a crack up boom, right? We just new record high, new record high, new record high. Don't worry. Be happy. The market's going to continue up forever. We're going to the moon. The moon boys are loving this. A lot of the YOLO people loving this. You only live once. I'm all in the market. We're going to the moon. We'll see how that works out. But so far, this crack up boom keeps pushing higher, 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 higher. We'll see how long that lasts. Eventually, it will end. I promise you. All right. So I had lunch over the weekend, right, with a couple of my buddies. One's a hedge fund guy and the other's a venture capital guy. And, you know, conversation always goes to money and investments. And they were, you know, kind of talking between themselves. And then they look over at me. I'm the poor guy, you know. They're both extremely wealthy, very successful in their own right. But I don't have their kind of money. So they look at me and they ask me, Tall Mike, where do you got your money invested? And I told them I'm part of the quiet revolution. The quiet revolution. They asked, what's that? I'm taking my money out of dollars, getting out of the system, going into gold and silver. They both roll their eyes like I'm a complete idiot. I don't know anything. So here's what their idea is. They're actually invested in this. They're very excited about this. All right. So they're coming out with a new coin, a token, if you will. So you crypto people that are a little bummed out because crypto's kind of dropped a little bit, this should perk you up a little bit. All right. So what they're investing in, it's a stable coin backed by the U.S. government, a stable coin backed by the U.S. government, not the central bank digital currency. This is a private company that they're starting to crypto, a token backed by the U.S. government. You see, it's a stable coin. A lot of stable coins aren't that stable. When those stable coins break, the whole system starts to come down. But their stable coin is going to be stable because for every dollar in the token, right, every dollar invested in the token, it's backed by the U.S. Treasury bond, U.S. Treasury bond. So let's say they get $1 billion and people are using their token where they can transact in it, right? And the transaction fee is very small. So you can transact very easily and they're backed by the support of the U.S. government, right? They got $1 billion in the token. They got $1 billion in Treasury bonds. So it's going to be worth $1, right? Well, how do they make their money? Well, what they do is they collect all the interest that the Treasury bond's paying. They collect the coupon, if you will. You see, the stable coin's stable because it's backed 1-to-1, 1-to-1, one token, $1, backed by $1 of a Treasury bond. So they sit there and they collect all the coupons. The government pays you about 4 or 5% on the Treasury bonds, and they collect this money, right? Okay, so they're getting wealthy, right? They got $1 billion. They'll probably make billions with this idea. Now, I had the stupidest question. I asked them, well, why wouldn't someone just buy a Treasury bond and that way they could get all the money themselves? But Mike, you don't understand. This is crypto. This is a token. It's a stable coin, going to be the most stable of any stable coins. And obviously they know what they're doing. They're the wealthy people. This is what they're investing in, how to fleece the customer some more. You got to fleece the customer, and they believe that the crypto crowd is ready for a stable coin backed by the U.S. government. I think it's ingenious personally. Now, not as ingenious as a Dogecoin or a Shiba Inu, but it's pretty smart, right? They're just collecting all the money without any risk at all. People buying their token and it's stable at 1-to-1. Can't go down unless the government goes down. Well, government's probably going to pay you your money. Your money's just not going to be worth anything. All right, so let's start talking about why the money's not going to be worth anything. That's just how I spend my afternoons. Yes, I have a few connections to some wealthy people, hedge fund guys, a couple of venture capital guys. I also have some connections to some very poverty-stricken people. Let's just call them the homeless, the people that live in their cars, the people that live in campsites. It's strange, but I get along a little better with the homeless people sometimes. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I can just relate to them a little bit more. I don't know. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the banks here now. Okay, so the banks are in trouble, right? Because they bought those treasury bonds, right? They bought those treasury bonds, and when rates went from 0% to 5.5%, well, the bonds went down by about 30%. So they've lost 30% of your money, but not to worry. They're going to be buying some crypto. Maybe they buy some Dogecoin, maybe buy some CB. They try to make it back. But the banks are now gambling, right? They're gambling. They're taking your money. They're going to the casino, the stock market, and they're betting on stuff, right? Betting on GameStop, whatever they can get some return on to recover the money that they lost in the bonds. You see, they went real conservative and lost all your money. Now they have to go real risky to make your money back. But the banks are in trouble with bonds. They're in trouble with commercial real estate loans. They're in trouble with people not paying on their credit card. They're in a lot of trouble, but the big trouble is just getting started, right? What's the next shoe to drop? Well, it's going to be these apartment buildings, right? Multi-level units, if you will. You see, what's happened to multi-level units? Well, they built too many of them. Not in your area, of course not. Nobody builds in your area, and I get that. There's no apartments for rent. Your area, the rents keep going up. But in most areas, they've overbuilt these apartment units. Now, what's that causing? It's causing a lot of vacancies. They can't fill them up. They don't have the people that can pay the high prices. You know, they're charging $2,000, $2,500 for a one bedroom. Yeah, people can afford $1,000 for a one bedroom, but they're having trouble affording $2,500 for a one bedroom, so they're sitting vacant. Well, the rents are starting to come down. They're down $2,400. 2,300. So the rents are dropping. Interest rates went from 0% up to 5.5%, but for apartments, that means they went from 3% up to 7 or 8%. So a lot of these apartment loans are coming due. Now, who owns these apartment loans? The banks. The banks own them, right? Not all banks, but a lot of them do, right? Okay, so when the loan comes due, they go to the bank and they go, look at my loan's due. I need to refinance. And they go, I'm sorry, but you can't refinance unless you bring in, let's call it $2 million and add that to, to your down payment. You see, what happened is the value of these apartments have gone down by 30%, some 40% already, right? Why? Because the rates went up. If they were to try to sell the apartment, the cap rate doesn't make sense anymore. So the cost of these apartments went down. Maybe it was 100 million and now it's only 70 million. It went down by 30%, and they got a loan already for 75 million, and they want to renew their loan. The bank's going, well, I don't think so. It's only worth 70 million, so you bring me another 20 million, and I'll give you a loan for 50 million. Okay, well, that's how we'll do it. Well, obviously, the person doesn't want to put in 20 million, so he's going, no, I'm not going to do it. Here's the keys to the apartment. You now own the apartment building. Bank doesn't want to own the apartment building. What do? They have a fire sale. What does a fire sale do? Puts more downward pressure, and then the banks start to roll over, right? They start to get in trouble because nobody can pay their loans back, and now they own apartment complexes. They don't want the apartment complexes, so the banks start falling over. FDIC warned us about this. They say 64 banks are going to go out of business. 64 is a very conservative number. I put it in multi-hundreds. 2, 3, 4, 500 banks are going to go down. Let's see if the FDIC has any money for that. Oh, they don't have the money. Who's going to be on the hook? Me and you, the taxpayer, right? Well, maybe the government's not going to bail them out this time. Maybe it's going to be a bail-in. But Mike, bail-ins have never happened in the United States. They've happened in other parts around the world, happened in Europe, happened in Cyprus, happened in a lot of countries. But in the United States, we haven't had that bail-in yet. It's going to be real interesting, right? We're going to see our first bail-ins, and the bail-ins are going to come with the banks. Banks make me very nervous. There's a problem with banks. See, they got those real estate loans out there that no one can pay on anymore. They got corporate loans, corporations, zombie companies. They need to refinance their debt. They don't have the money. Rates have gone up. They can't afford to refinance. Banks are in trouble. They're not getting paid. Now, if one bank goes down, does that mean it's just one? No, it's usually a domino effect at this point. They're all intertwined. They're all intertwined. You can go to the Bank of International Settlements, BIS.org, and you can look at all the banks that they own throughout it. Just pick a place, pick a country. They own all around the world, right? So when one goes down, the others get in trouble, and the others get in trouble, and they're warning of a sovereign debt crisis. What's a sovereign debt crisis. Well, it's where the government doesn't bring in enough money to even pay the interest, right? They don't have enough tax dollars just to pay the interest on their debt. So the debt's going to shoot up, right? The interest rate on the debt. Well, they can't pay it at this interest rate, tall Mike. How are they going to pay it at a higher interest rate? Well, that's my point. They're not going to be able to pay at the higher interest rate. So they're in trouble. Now, the real estate, housing market getting to be in a lot of trouble. People don't see this coming. People think it's going to be okay. Investors are already running for cover. They see the prices going down. They see the vacancies going up. They want out. They're dumping the properties. They're not going to be your buyer. They're not going to be your buyer. They're going to be your seller, right? Now, this, when it turns, it does turn on a dime, right? It could turn overnight. I was in the real estate market, had 3 houses as a young kid, right? Anyways, I couldn't get any of them sold. Why? Because the market went from real hot, where I was buying being the dumb, stupid kid I was, and now I don't have enough money. I got to sell one, and I can't get it sold because all the buyers went away. The buyers went away. It just happens overnight. I mean, I'm talking one weekend to the next. This weekend may be okay to sell, but next weekend, not so much. One person called me up on one of my listings that I had that I've sold. He wanted to put his house on the market. You know, I turned his business down, turned it down. Didn't like his attitude, really. Now, when you get to be my age and you have enough money to support yourself, you can pick and choose your clients. When I was a younger guy, I'd have to kiss his butt, try to beg him for the listing. That don't happen no more. Don't want it. Good luck, sir. I hope you make it out before the change comes, because it's changing. Look, at next month, we can no longer advertise that we're paying a buyer commission. We can no longer advertise for other agents to bring us buyers. This is going to send that housing market down. A lot of change coming to the housing market. But where I think the big change is going to come is when the banks start to go down. When banks go down in your area, is that going to affect your house at all? But Mike, my house is worth $1 million because that's what Billy Bob sold at, and I'm not selling for a penny less than Billy Bob got, and Billy Bob got out at $1 million. Well, that's great. You hold on to it, because right now the comps are showing 800,000 and they're going lower. They're not going higher. So you just sit there and hold on. You're called the bag holder, right? Somebody's got to be the bag holder. Might as well be you. I don't want to be the bag holder. I sold off all my rentals. I don't have any rentals. I do have one house, and I admit that openly. People think I'm talking two-faced here. I'm telling you it's a bad time to buy, and I'm telling you I own my house. My house is paid off. I got it free and clear. If you got free and clear real estate, yeah, it can be chopped in half. Is that going to make me sell when it gets chopped in half? I'm not going to sell when it gets chopped in half. I'm going to hold on. Gets chopped in half again, I'm going to hold on. Love my house, but it's free and clear, right? Yes, I still own property taxes. I got plenty of money to pay the property taxes the rest of my life. So I'm going to be okay, but I'm just telling you it's a bad time to buy right now. A lot of people don't agree with me on that. I mean, talk to Barbara Cochran, talk to Dave Ramsey. They'll tell you it's a great time to buy. I'll call them both fools, idiots if they actually believe that, but I don't believe they actually believe that. I believe they're talking their book. That's what they do. They talk their book because they don't want to see the prices coming down, because then their net worth comes down. Then it makes them sad. But it's going to happen. They can't stop it. They can talk their book all they want, but it's going to come down. You're going to see. That's just the way I see it. Now, the moon boys think we're going to the moon. Think we're going to the moon in the stock market. Think we're going to the moon in the housing market. Think the cryptos are going to the moon. What's happened to Bitcoin? I thought that was going to 1 million. Kind of coming back in, isn't it? It's very interesting. Now, everybody laughs at me, rolls their eyes when I talk about the gold and silver. Don't talk about it with your friends. Don't talk about it with your family. Don't talk about it with anybody except me, like-minded people. And that's why I have this channel. You know, we get some haters come in here every now and then because they don't like what I'm saying. They come in here to troll. They come in here to hate. But me and you, we think pretty much alike. We think that what's going on in the economy is just crazy. We think that printing $35 trillion is the stupidest thing you could do. And they're not done yet. They'll easily double that to 70 trillion. Think that buying gold and silver is a smart thing. That's what we think. But a lot of people think that's stupid. We think that's sound money. We think that's going to do all right for us when the crash comes. And believe me, the crash of a lifetime is just moments away. It'll happen quickly. I hope we have some time. I'd like to prepare a little more. Hope we have 3 years. Hope we have 5 years. We may not have 3 days. You just just don't know when it's going to happen. The reset's going to happen overnight. Not going to happen slow. It's going to happen fast. Why they do it fast? Because then everybody can't cry. They're already burned, right? All their accounts go to zero and we start over. We start to rebuild our country, and I hope we rebuild it better this time. That's just my take. You like this stuff? Give me a thumbs up. Punch the subscribe button. Get out there, everybody. Have a great day. I'm Tall Mike. Bye-bye.